Hi, it's Mark Marmer from Signature Electric. So we're up here in sort of North Toronto. This is a customer of ours that did some solar. So in actuality, they came to us. We did another church downtown, some other similar type of work. They saw one of our videos, liked it, and we made a connection. So that was really great. The solar is, of course, up on the roof. We'll take a look. And the building is interesting for solar because the footprint of the building is not gigantic. It's not that big. And the roof is not that high. Solar fits perfectly for certain kinds of things. This is perfect, only 2 or 3 stories up, and we were able to sort of manage about a 30% offset, which is actually quite good. Let's maybe head upstairs and we'll take a look at what the solar looks like on the roof. Just a little bit of the history. The customer calls us. This took about to the point where we are today, standing here, took about 1.5 years. So this seems like an enormous amount of time, but there's just a sort of a rhythm to how things have to go. The customer called. We looked into giving them sort of a preliminary look at where the panels might go and how they were going to perform. So if that made sense to them, then we were into sort of a next step of get sort of the engineering piece of it. Check with the utility. When we put this in, if it turns out the utility is constrained in this area, we may not be able to send this energy back. That's going to be a problem. So until you've got that part of the process done, you really can't move ahead. So then you're at that point, you move ahead, and there's a bit of engineering now. Is the roof going to be able to support these panels? So literally, some kind of structural engineering is taking place to make sure that can happen. Once we get to that point, then we're ready. And then the customer took a look and thought, well, I'm putting all these panels up. Maybe I should assess the roof. And they decided that actually this would be a perfect time to do the roof, which is good. Listen, if they had to do the roof, it's not impossible to move this stuff around, but of course it's a lot of extra work, and the timing makes good sense. Even if you were doing a single family home, maybe that's a moment to look at how long the roof has been there and do the roof. The other thing is that these panels are now on the roof. Where they're covered is somewhat protecting the roof, so it may actually extend the life of the new roof. I think it'll be a long time before they have to do anything here. And we have the wiring and all the piping and everything that needs to be supported. So it's great if the roof is in good condition. So the other nice thing about a location like this, I mentioned at the front that the building's relatively small and the roof is not too high. But the other thing is, it's perfect around here. There's no trees. We're up above the trees. There's no shading. They're going to get this sun directly. When you stand in the parking lot at this angle where these are, you can't even tell that these panels are up here. It hasn't taken anything away from the look of the building. And we have all these nice roof area here, and up above, the mechanical sort of is in one area. This doesn't always happen. A lot of times when we're up on the roofs, the mechanical is spread out so much, it's actually challenging sometimes to find enough spaces to put the panels. So this has worked out really well. The inverter's up here, so this is bringing the solar from DC to AC, and we're just in the midst, the pipe's not quite in here yet. This conduit from here to here is our AC side. It's going down to take energy back to the main service. So we're just in, and there's a disconnect, an isolating disconnect on the side of the building. So the disconnect is already mounted, and we're just in the midst today of getting this conduit down the side of the building. We brought a lift in for it. So we'll go down and take a look at that bit of activity. We're just at the back now. So just to give you a feel for where we are, we stood up just a little while ago on the top right-hand side over there. Solar on that side, solar on the upper roof. And what I was mentioning to you, you see nothing. It doesn't take away anything from the building. You can't even notice it. So we've got the lift up here today. So what's going to happen is that pipe is going to come off the roof or from the top down into this disconnect. So this disconnect is required by the utility so that we can isolate the solar from the street in case somebody's working on something. They can lock this off, a special disconnect with the window and everything. And then it's going back in. The back end's a bit of a challenge. We're in and down into the electrical room. I'll take you down to the electrical room to see where it is, but pretty straightforward. Okay, so we're downstairs in this now beautiful, clean, and warm electrical room. So this is the main service coming in. So wiring coming in from the street. main disconnect, and then the distribution that you would normally see, different things going to other panels and fire alarm and what have you. This is the energy going out to feed the building, and we've got a meter back here picking up this. So that black conduit at the top, which will eventually get put in once we've had a chance to shut the service down, will go in, and a breaker will go in to this section, probably over here, and that will be the energy coming back from the solar into here to offset this. What we're hoping over a period of a year will be this 30%. And then the Lamacoids are already all made for this. These are a whole variety of Lamacoids that are required by the code, and will give somebody coming will have an indication of how this flow is working, where things are going, voltage concerns, what the purpose of the disconnects are, what the purpose of the breaker is, just to make it clear. Because as you start to do more complicated things at the site, it becomes more complicated. Here it's pretty straightforward. We have the service and we have the solar, but you could have a generator as well with emergency backup, and you could have energy coming from a variety of different places, and you have to be very, very careful. At one time when I first started in the trade a long time ago, you simply didn't see this. Everything was pretty obvious. If I saw a switch and a transformer, I knew the power was coming from here to the transformer and out. But now we can have situations very easily where the power is coming from somewhere else through a transformer for some reason. In this case, we don't need it, and back in. So partly you have to be much more careful. Things have become much more complex, and partly when we're dealing with a professional electrical contractor, electricians, they've grown up with this, and they've got the idea of being careful, but all the signage and everything helps. So hopefully this was interesting. We made the effort to come out. When we see something interesting, we'll try to share it with you. We'll of course have this posted up on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/signature electric. So we'll put that up. There's other solar videos with more snowy roofs, if that's where even colder than it was today, if that's what we want to look at. And we'll sort of keep our eye open for other interesting things to share with you.